All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to be talking about the incredible poetry of Maya Angelou and really digging into her powerful take on feminism, on strength, and ultimately what it means to survive. You've probably heard this line before. It's just so iconic. It's a statement of pure, unapologetic confidence, isn't it? And it really sets the stage perfectly for the first part of our story, this incredible celebration of self-worth.
I mean, it's hard to overstate just how important Maya Angelou is. She was this absolutely pivotal voice in American literature. And her work, it never shied away from the tough stuff, Sexism, racism. But what she did so brilliantly was focus on the resilience and the power of women through it all. That's what makes her such a crucial figure in feminist thought.
So this gets us to the big question for today. How does she do it? On one hand, you get these incredible portraits of womanhood that are just bursting with confidence. But on the other, you see this crushing exhaustion. They seem like polar opposites, right? So how does she capture both? Well, we're going to figure it out by looking at two of her most famous poems.
Okay, first up, The Phenomenal Woman's Secret. We're talking about celebrating inner strength and self-worth here. Let's start with that amazing feeling of empowerment, which is just perfectly captured in her poem, Phenomenal Woman. It's basically a masterclass in where real power comes from, not from what society demands, but from deep inside.
And she comes out swinging right from the very first line. The speaker just completely rejects those narrow, external ideas of what beauty is supposed to be. She's making it crystal clear that her value has absolutely nothing to do with fitting into some mold created by somebody else. And this just lays out the central conflict so perfectly, doesn't it? Society is shouting, be this, but her real power, that secret she talks about, it comes from her own body, her own reality. The very things she's probably been told her whole life aren't ideal, but that's where she finds her strength, in what is uniquely hers.
So here's the key takeaway, right? This phenomenal quality, it isn't something she just puts on like a piece of jewelry. No, it's part of her. It's baked into her very being. It's in the way she moves, the way she holds herself. What Angelou's really arguing is that this kind of power is something every woman already has, just by being exactly who she is.
Okay, and check this out, because this is just a little touch of genius. When you actually look at the poem on the page, the stanzas are shaped like an hourglass. How cool is that? Angelou literally builds the celebration of the female form right into the visual structure of the poem. It's just a complete work of art. This is where everything shifts. That confidence, it's real. That inner strength, absolutely real. But Maya Angelou was too honest to pretend that was the whole picture. So what's the external reality she has to deal with day in and day out?
And that brings us to our second poem, Woman Work. This is a completely different world. It's about the external weight of oppressive labor. Here, Angelou gives a voice to a much, much harsher reality. The relentless, thankless, unpaid work that society just kind of assumes women will do.
Just listen to this list as it unfolds. The poem just barrels through it all, and it really creates this feeling of being out of breath, just tired. The children to tend, the clothes to mend, the floor to mop, the food to shop, and it goes on and on. It's this long, unending, monotonous loop. There's zero glamour here. It's just a cycle of work that never ever stops.
And pay attention to the words she uses. It's always, I got, or I've got. That's not an accident. It's not, I choose to, it's, I've got to. It frames all this work as a heavy obligation, not a choice. This is her burden to carry all by herself, and it's incredibly isolating. And then, bam, the poem hits you with this line. It's a real jolt. In just 4 words, she connects her thankless work at home to the massive, brutal history of exploited labor in America. The poem is quietly, powerfully suggesting that these two things, they're just different sides of the very same oppressive coin.
So now we get to this plea to nature, this desperate search for escape. After that completely draining list of chores, the speaker is just empty. There's no human comfort, nobody to help share the load. So where does she turn? To the only thing left that seems to be listening, the natural world.
And her plea starts out pretty simply. Think about that. She's not asking for help with the mending or the mopping. She's asking for nature to do something to her, to cool her down, to give her some kind of physical relief that no person in her life is offering.
But then, it really escalates. Storm, blow me from here. Wow. This isn't just about wanting a little rest anymore. This is a desire to just disappear,
to be blown away, to escape this crushing reality altogether.
And then comes the final line, and it is just devastating. The sun, the rain, the storm. That's it. That's all that belongs to her. And you can see how this is two things at once, right? It's a small comfort because nature is her only refuge. But it's also this massive indictment of a world that has taken everything from a woman who gives everything and has given her absolutely nothing in return.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. Two sides of womanhood. Resilience in the face of reality. How on earth do we reconcile these two poems? On one side, you have this incredible, untouchable inner power, and on the other, this cry of complete and utter exhaustion. What's the connection?
Well, looking at them side by side really helps. Phenomenal Woman is all about the inner self. It's celebratory and confident. Woman Work is all about external labor, and the tone is just exhausted, numb. See, they aren't contradicting each other. They are two essential pieces of the exact same story. And that right there is the genius of Maya Angelou. What she's showing us is that you have to be a phenomenal woman. You have to find that incredible inner resilience because you have to survive in a world that so often treats you like the woman in Woman Work. One reality makes the other one absolutely necessary. And this leaves us with a final, really chilling question. If the woman in Woman Work only owns the sky and the rain, if her time and her body don't even belong to her, is she really seen as a person? Or is she just part of the household equipment? A tool that's essential, sure, but not entitled to anything of her own. It's a tough question, and it shows just how deeply Angelou understood the fight for a woman's full humanity.